Thank you for tuning in to Entertain the Geeky, your source for nerd news.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Jason back at you with more nerd news. So, it has been a while since my friend Joe here has been on the show to do a movie review. Things just hadn't been working out, but
yeah, we were busy there.
Yeah, it was busy. But we're back, and we're gonna start with Solo because it's been a while since the movie's come out, but I've given everybody plenty of time to see the movie. If you still haven't seen the movie, we are going to put up a spoiler alert because we are going to talk about some specifics. Looking back, it was kind of an underwhelming performance from a Star Wars movie.
Box office wise.
Yeah.
But I'm super not surprised by that because you had all the people who basically boycotted it before it even came out.
It's true.
There was much hate.
Before we even knew what the movie was.
Which I kind of get because when they originally announced it, I was on the wavelength of Harrison Ford's advice about doing this young Han Solo movie, which was don't.
Well, sure, yeah.
That's a beloved character, real easy to mess up, real hard to get right.
But see, this is the thing, right? I don't think that any of the actors involved did a bad job bringing their characters to life. In fact, I don't even think the movie was a bad movie. I just think it was very underwhelming. I just feel like it was very cookie cutter, right?
Yeah, it didn't super bring anything new to the table.
Exactly.
They absolutely went down the checklist of important events in Han Solo's life, Kessel Run, check. Meet Lando, check.
Well, and all the things that we had as kind of mystery to who he was, right?
Right.
You had that moment between him and Lando in Empire Strikes Back where they first get to Cloud City and he says, "You got a lot of nerve coming here after what you did." And that was a mystery, and then it was just a joke, and they have a laugh, but we don't really understand the meaning, and that was okay, right? We liked having this intrigue and this mystery and this character.
I'm perfectly fine coming into a story with two characters who've known each other previously outside of it.
But not to my knowledge, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, without having details.
But audiences definitely responded, and again, it's not a bad movie, so I think really the poor response it gets in the theater or that it got in the theater, had less to do with the movie itself and more to do with the fact that I think people are a little overloaded with Star Wars at this point. Not to mention, literally just 5 months prior was The Last Jedi, which was very divisive.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a sensory overload of Star Wars because, we're used to waiting 3 years between movies.
Well, with the prequels, it was 2.
Was it? Only 2?
He did 99, and then 2002, and then 2005.
Was it? Okay.
Or 2004. 5.
No, it had to be at least 2005. I'm pretty sure it was 2006, honestly. Yeah. Yeah, because I was driving.
Okay. I was driving too, but that's because I'm an adult.
Well, I was 16 that year, so...
I'm old. Okay.
But yeah. So, we're used to a standard 2 to 3 years between films and then big gaps of nothing where you have books and that's it.
Well, and then Disney comes along and is releasing one movie a year.
Yeah.
Which was fine when they were being released in December. I think not only was the movie kind of underwhelming, but they released it a little too close to another Star Wars movie. I think they should have waited. Even if you wanted to release it earlier, you should have waited until at least late summer.
Yeah.
Early fall.
Not spring.
Right. It was too close. And again, that movie was very divisive. So you had, your hardcore Star Wars fans who were rejecting Solo because they were still pissed off about what happened in Last Jedi.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you had your fans like us who enjoyed Last Jedi, and we're just going to go see Solo and didn't really expect much, kind of just expected a fun movie.
Yeah.
And I think it delivered on that part.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I'm definitely going to buy a copy. I'll watch it again for sure. It's not the greatest Star Wars movie by any means,
but it's not the worst for sure. Not the worst
for sure. But it's very.
I'm looking at you, prequel trilogy.
It's very entertaining, and I like it. I liked it.
Yeah, and again, the cast does, I think, a good job of bringing their characters to life. I was kind of disappointed that another young actor who had auditioned for Han Solo didn't get the part, but I think Alden Ehrenreich did a fine job with the character. And Donald Glover absolutely steals the show as Lando Calrissian.
We all kind of saw that coming, though.
Yeah.
Donald Glover is a Renaissance man, as it were.
He's good at every
modern age.
Yeah.
And
the guy just does not fail.
Yeah. So casting him as Lando, I I was absolutely unsurprised when they were like, well, we might do a young Lando movie just starring Donald Glover.
Yeah.
I'll go watch that.
Yeah. Well, but again, and that would be something new, right? One of the things going into this movie that is, new is getting a little bit more of who Lando is, because Lando's such a small character, even in his own movie, in Empire, where he's introduced. Right. He's still a very small character. He has a couple of key scenes, and then he helps them escape. And then going into Return of the Jedi, he's there, but he doesn't really get much to do. He gets that one exchange between Han Solo, where he's going to borrow the Millennium Falcon for the big Death Star scene. And that's pretty much it. We really don't know anything about this guy.
He's definitely at best, co-star.
Right.
Ever.
We know he is a friend to Han Solo, and that's pretty much all we know. So going into this movie, that was one thing that I think was very new. And then characters like Kira, yes, she's a new character. The criminal organization that her quote-unquote boyfriend belongs to, though, is not new.
No.
The Eclipse Sons, what were they called?
Watching you struggle over this is fun.
I don't remember what they're called.
It's Crimson Sun.
Crimson Sun.
Yes.
They are not new. In fact, a lot of the criminal organizations that we see kind of pop up in various comics are not new.
Yeah.
And so why should the movies be any different?
Right.
We have long history of, books and novels and comics and other media that we have a lot of source material. And even though they kind of nixed a lot of what that was, they're still kind of cherry picking various things.
Which, nobody is surprised about that. No. I mean, you have all these good ideas here. You might as well pull a few, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, I just think, one of those were the few of the only new things. But as Han Solo is the main character of the story, it just kind of checked the boxes. You said it best. Like, the Kessel Run is fun. Yeah. It's an interesting thing to watch. I still don't understand how parsecs are used as a unit of distance and, not a unit of time, which they are.
Honestly, dude, that's one of my favorite things is that, that was a mistake from the original.
And we're just sticking with it.
And we're hardcore sticking to the idea that in this fantasy sci-fi world,
the parsec is a unit of distance.
Yeah.
Instead of the reality, which it is a unit of time.
Other way around, but sure.
Or time. Not distance.
Yeah. They're using it as time.
As time, not distance. Right, yeah.
Right.
It just...
I'm okay with that, because at this point, it's a goofy, fun joke for anyone who knows the background of that. I'm glad they're sticking with it, because it would have been real weird to change it.
It would. And again, it's a fun scene, this just kind of having to navigate this...
it's visually...
space fog sea.
Visually impressive. Yeah. It's entertaining because, once again, the Millennium Falcon loses its current radar dish.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I love that's now a running gag.
Yeah. Millennium Falcon's just always going to lose the radar dish.
Yeah. But, I mean, checking off the box on how do you meet Chewie? We got to see that. Yeah. But, honestly, I really enjoyed that scene.
It's a good scene. I like the original ideas of Han and Chewie's origins better.
Right.
But again, we threw out all that old continuity and we're trying to build new. So I can't be mad at them for changing it, but it still gives me a little bit of the butt hurts.
Honestly, my part of the reason I enjoy that scene as much as I do, though, is just because it's the first time we ever see someone who's not a Wookiee try to speak Wookiee.
Yeah. I could have done without that.
See, I thought it was... I mean, that's fair. The movie wouldn't have lost anything not having that, but I thought it was entertaining. And I enjoyed that.
But what we've always understood is the Wookiees are intelligent enough to understand your language.
Right.
So you don't need to try to understand theirs or speak theirs.
Well, I mean, just because they're an intelligent race and can learn other languages, it would be... And, I will agree to the point of why Han Solo attempted his language is the idea of, wouldn't it be kind of rude to assume that this motherfucker speaks common or basic?
I guess basic, right? Yeah. I guess, but
I play too much D&D. I'm used to it being common.
I mean, I guess I get that, but I just feel like it just kind of they were going for a laugh, and it made me groan.
No, that's fair.
They were trying to get a laugh out of me, and I just went, that's bad. See, don't do that.
And for me, it did give me a little chuckle, and
sure.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and the movie has plenty of that. The movie has a lot of fun. It is entertaining as a film.
Yeah.
It definitely took a turn at the end and tried to connect itself to the larger Star Wars universe, and I'm not really sure how that works. And this is a spoiler. This is a major, major spoiler. So if you've been listening to us talk pretty much spoiler-free at this point, take your headphones off for the next 20 seconds or so here. Because Darth Maul.
Yeah, Darth Maul shows up at the end as the head of
pulling the strings
Crimson Sun.
of the organization. And again, the only problem I have with that is we talked about this literally right after seeing the movie, I think.
Yeah.
Within the timeline, Darth Maul should be off on a crusade of his own right now.
Right.
Taking pot shots at the Empire to try to weaken their position and get revenge on Darth Sidious, the Emperor.
Right.
Right. So I'm not really sure if they're trying to integrate that into the story, where this is an arm of his revenge, or if this is meant to set up an Obi-Wan movie that might not happen now.
Right.
We are really close to the end of Darth Maul at this point. Right?
Yeah.
If this story is to be within the time frame that they're saying it is, Darth Maul's almost to the end of his life.
Yeah.
He's almost to that fateful showdown with Obi-Wan Kenobi where he gets killed.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure where they're going with that. And honestly, I'd probably have more to go on if I had paid more attention to Clone Wars and Rebels, which I didn't.
I did.
Yeah. But
I enjoyed both those shows.
I'm not saying they're bad. I just didn't pay a whole lot of attention.
That's where they developed a lot of Darth Maul's story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
in fact, I think all of the story at this point, because there haven't been any comics about him since the Dark Horse days.
Yeah.
So
no, there was a 5-issue.
Oh, that's right. There was a Marvel miniseries.
Yeah, from that takes place before Phantom Menace.
Yeah, that's right.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, good call.
But yeah, no, it felt like a setup for something in the future, possibly as part of a lead-in to like the Obi-Wan movie, like you mentioned.
But that might not happen now.
I don't know for sure. Yeah. Thanks, Star Wars fans.
Yeah. Well, let's thank Solo for that. Right? Well, the underwhelming performance of Solo has shifted Disney's goals a little bit.
Right. Yeah, like 5 days after they confirmed, like, okay, we're going to do an Obi-Wan movie, like, Solo underperformed because of all the backlash that had happened before it even came out. And then they're like, all right, we're putting the standalones on pause for the moment.
And it might not necessarily mean the standalones are on pause. It might just mean they're rethinking their strategy on what these movies should be, right? Because the reason I think Rogue One performed so well is because it brought something entirely new. Yeah. A new character, new perspective. Yeah. Not to mention the fact that the war between the Rebels and the Empire is a huge untapped market that you really should be tapping into more.
No, and it was the first current major Star Wars production that, except for like a minute 30 seconds worth of scenes of Darth Vader, had no Force usage going on whatsoever. Really, like it completely ignored the big space wizard players for a more personal, common Joe
human story. Yeah, a very human story. Yeah. And so I think that, I think you can make these side stories, but what you have to do is you have to bring us something new. Right. Yes, it can be set within events and within the characters' lives that we know and love, but you have to give me something new. Right. Right? And I think Obi-Wan can be that new thing, right? Obi-Wan can be something, because we know Obi-Wan from his prequel era as a Jedi, and we know the old man who dies. Yeah. We don't really know that time in between, right? His life protecting Luke on Tatooine. That's new story material that you can tap into. Yeah. And the comics have tapped into it a little bit recently and done some one-shot issues.
Yeah. I mean, we got a bit of it, too, in the old EU, comic-wise.
Well, sure.
Not a lot, but I mean, that's how we got, what was his name? Kratos? Darth Kratos?
Darth
Crate. Who am I thinking of?
Oh, Kratos is a god of war.
Sorry, we were talking about that earlier.
We were.
Darth Crate.
But I think
from that time period.
Right, but I think there's a lot yes, we've thrown out a lot of that continuity, but again, they've been cherry picking these various things, and they've actually shown a couple of references to older stories. Like they had that issue of the Star Wars comic where Luke confronts some Tusken Raiders who are robbing some people. Yeah. And Luke thinks he's tougher than he is. Obviously, we know he is, but he doesn't know that. that.
Right.
And Obi-Wan has to step in to kind of save the day. And he just becomes, in Luke's mind, this like silent protector.
Yeah.
He doesn't really understand why he always gets saved from these terrible situations, but he does.
Yeah.
So I think that restructuring of how we determine what the stories are can be done. Also, it seems as though Disney has has no confidence anymore in Kathleen Kennedy's leadership.
Yeah.
And she's not going to be a part of Episode 9 anymore, according to recent reports.
That seems to be a big thing. Which, I mean, I'm not for or against that, really.
I have no problem with Kathleen Kennedy. And in all reality, I think that Disney just is a business, and when things don't go well, someone has to take the fall. Someone has to, bear the brunt of the blame for this failure.
No, it's the exact same thing as in any sports organization, like a team underperforms for 3 seasons. Well, you get rid of the coaches or the manager or somebody like that. Well, if Marvel started super underperforming, like they might fire Kevin Feige,
right? Yeah. And that's the reality is, Kathleen Kennedy is the head of Lucasfilm. That was when they bought Lucasfilm from George Lucas, a lot of things stayed intact. The only real big change was George Lucas stepped away. Yeah. But all the people, Kathleen Kennedy, John Knoll, all the writing staff, they all stayed on board because why not?
Right.
So
yeah, it's kind of a like, hey, our season's not doing well. Let's try a new management team.
But is her season not doing well, or did she just have one bad game?
It's a good question.
Right? Because Kathleen Kennedy's leadership has given us Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rogue One, all fantastic films that shattered box office records.
Right. I think, honestly, part of that, too, is the performance of Last Jedi. Because, don't get me wrong, it did very, very well in the box office. But it also was, A, super divisive for the crowd, and B, didn't do as well as I thought it would, regardless of how well it did.
Sure. I think, though, isn't the divisiveness of this movie, isn't the fact that we're still talking about it, and we'll probably continue to talk about it
forever,
proof that it doesn't matter?
I would think so.
Right? That in fact, dividing Star Wars fans has actually made Star Wars
Disney, who are, like, looking at that divisiveness, like Ryan Gosling in The Notebook, just screaming, "What do you want?"
Well,
like they're really just trying to please all Star Wars fans all at once, and like I think they just need to go back to Abe Lincoln on that one.
Well, I mean, but if you look at Rian Johnson, I mean, he said it best when all the backlash happened and Star Wars fans were unhappy. He said it best. He said, "Look, guys, if I had made the movie that you wanted me to make, it would have been a bad movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, I know what you want because it's what I want. But that doesn't make for a good movie anymore, right? We have to look at it differently. We have to change how we make these films and try to embrace new fans.
Right.
And I don't think any hardcore Star Wars fan is ever going to get over Rian Johnson butt-hurting them.
Yeah, probably not.
I really don't think that's ever going to go away.
You know what? I'm cool with it.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. Just be mad. Don't enjoy Star Wars Episode 9. I'm going to probably enjoy it very much.
Yeah. I will see you in theaters, sir.
But overall,
Han Solo, decent.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Like, underwhelming. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to add it to my Star Wars collection. Yeah. It was a little underwhelming. I feel like I expected more of it than I got. I expected it to be more than just a checklist of Han Solo mystery and intrigue.
Right.
But it gave us some interesting performances. It really was cool to kind of see someone else try to bring the charming smuggler to life.
And I thought he did a good job. Like, he a lot of people complain about him not being as smarmy as Harrison Ford, but, like, the thing I've tried to point out to several of these people is, like, yeah, he grew up a rough kid on the streets, but he was also much more hopeful in this. He's not cynical yet. Yeah. And, like, how the movie ends is, like, the moment that turns him more cynical.
Yeah.
Because he's a more hopeful young Han Solo. And, like, why is that not good character development?
Yeah, it's like watching...
Why do I need him to be cynical at 19?
No, yeah, I don't. Well, he's also not 19. This is supposed to be, like, 4 years before the events of A New Hope.
I agree with that, but you know...
Right. I agree with that. It's like Casino Royale. I mean, Casino Royale I always use as a perfect example of James Bond movies because it was an origin James Bond movie. He becomes a 00 agent at the very beginning of the film.
Yeah.
And then throughout the film, he falls in love with a woman. And then that woman betrays him, and then she dies tragically.
Yeah.
And this is what shapes James into the womanizing alcoholic that we all know and have known for so long, right? Like, yes, it's different than what you'd expect, but it's development. They're trying to develop the character into the person you remember by using actual storytelling to do it.
Right? Why is this a bad
Instead
thing?
of just saying, this is how he is, this is always how he is, and that's how he is. You know?
No, he's born from the womb a cynical douche.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I think that character development wise, it shows us a Han Solo that has a different viewpoint on the galaxy, and then throughout the events of the film, we get him to be the guy that we remember.
Yeah, for sure.
I think again we could have done a little bit more new stuff with it, not just had it checking off the boxes. But I am hopeful that maybe one day Donald Glover will get to reprise Lando Calrissian again. I'm really not sure how he goes from Donald Glover to Billy D. Williams in like 8 years, but
I don't know. I mean, whatever. I'm not going to ask questions. I will say as well, though, as always, Paul Bettany on point.
Oh, yeah. That guy is just fantastic.
I've never seen a movie where I thought he was doing a bad job.
Yeah, even the movies that he's in that are terrible, he's good in.
Yeah.
Like Priest.
Yeah. Great concept. Great
bad
actor.
Movie.
Terrible film.
Very bad movie. But he was fantastic in it.
Yeah.
And I saw it because I like Paul Bettany. He will always draw me in, at least in some regard.
So, Paul Bettany on point. What's her name? I can't remember. Kira, the actress.
Oh,
Queen Targaryen.
Daenerys Targaryen. Yeah.
What is her name?
I don't remember.
Amelia Clark.
Yeah.
There
you go.
Cool.
You got it.
My brain works today. She was great.
She was. She did a good job as Kira. Kira is a character that I liked because she brought something new to the table, but she didn't get enough screen time, I feel like.
That's fair.
Because she is intriguing, right? She has this kind of love for Han Solo and this love for this criminal organization. And then in the end, you realize that maybe she's kind of been waiting for an opportunity, to become the head of this criminal organization, excuse me. But that's not really clear in any of her motivations throughout the film. It just kind of happens right there at the end.
Well, I mean, there's also, 3 years that the movie skips between, like, when we first see her and then when we see her again.
Sure. We miss a lot.
I don't know for sure what happens there, and there's a whole lot of character development. And honestly, if you made a Kira movie that went for that, or even followed this and gave me those 3 years and, like, backup, I'd be cool with that, too.
Yeah. I just feel like her flip at the end where she's, I'm done with you, Han Solo, I'm going to be the leader of this criminal organization, felt out of character. Even based on what we had known of her since they run back into each other, right? Who she had become, how she helped form this little thieving team that they were putting together. Like, this motivation and then the sudden flip felt completely diametrically opposed,
Maybe.
Because even though, yes, you're right, we missed 3 years of her life, but when we catch back up with her, when Han Solo catches back up with her, she still seems like the loving, caring person that cared for him.
Right.
She doesn't seem like a criminal who would betray him at the drop of a hat.
I think that's more associative regression than anything. Personally.
Okay, get all psychobabble on me here for a minute.
Sorry, I do stuff. No, I do think that's more associative regression because I don't think she ever thought she would ever actually see him again, kind of situation. And I think it speaks to the idea of like she's been developing this plan for however long and working the angle and that old love blooms for a moment, right? But she'll be damned if she's going to let it get in the way of her finishing this thing she's been doing for how long?
I guess, but again, they really do very little to help you set that stage.
That's fair,
right?
I could just be super reading into it, to connect the dots better.
I mean, I am reminded of like the CinemaSins guys when they say, "Look, yes, I understand that what you're saying is that within the plot of your story, or even within a book that you read, this is how it is. But if the movie does a bad job of helping me, the viewer, understand that, then it's a bad movie."
That's fair. I won't disagree with that. That is
so again, it's like Hydra coming out of nowhere in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right?
Right.
The other movies do very little to set that up. It just kind of blindsides you right away.
Yeah.
In that Captain America, the second Captain America movie.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, with Kira, they just do very little to help you understand her motivations until she betrays Han Solo and becomes a criminal.
That's fair.
The head of a criminal organization.
That's fair.
So it's a little blindsiding. But overall, good movie. Definitely going to pick it up when it comes out.
Yeah.
Add it to the Star Wars collection. That is going to bring us to the end here. Thanks to Joe for sitting in with us again and reviewing movies, because that's your job now.
Yeah. I don't know that we can call it a job because I haven't seen that check you've written me yet.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen a check either. So if I, as an owner of the company, am not getting paid, you're definitely not getting paid.
Maybe you should get on that.
Yeah, well, we need more people to listen. Everybody out there listening, tell your friends. Tell your friends. We need more people to listen, and then we can do this full time. We won't have to worry about missing stuff. We'll keep you up to date on literally every single thing.
And we'll have better sound quality and everything.
Oh, there will be so much better sound quality.
Right.
But thank you guys for sitting in and listening. We will be back with more movie reviews. We still got to do Ant-Man and the Wasp. We still got to do Deadpool.
Yeah.
There was another one in there. What was the other one? Incredibles.
Yeah.
The sequel to Incredibles, because that is absolutely in our wheelhouse.
Yes, it is. It's good to have another good Fantastic Four film.
Yeah. Hopefully the Marvel, Disney, Fox merger will solve that problem for us.
We'll see.
And we'll have a good Fantastic Four movie.
We'll see.
In any case, thanks again out there for listening, guys. Keep an eye, if you're digging what we're putting down, keep an eye on entertainthegeeky.com. We've got all kinds of stuff going up. In fact, currently right now, while we were sitting here recording, we were in the midst of San Diego Comic-Con weekend. So there's a bunch of stuff that's been put up on the site. We have a bunch more to come. We've got some articles that we're gonna go through about some of the more comic-y panels that don't have previews to put up on the internet that just have information. We're going to go over some of that stuff as well. So keep it tuned there. Follow us on all our socials, facebook.com/entertainmentgeeky. We're on Twitter @entertaingeeky. And if you want to chat with me, just let me know what you think of the show, what you'd like to hear more of, what you'd like to hear less of. I love hearing feedback. You can shoot me an email at etgnerdnews@gmail.com. We're going to see you guys next time. Until then, stay geeky.